My teacher did tell me to watch Brokeback Mountain like a couple weeks ago, but I think I might have gone too far. I can't look at myself in the viewfinder right now, but we're gonna go ahead and all right, this right into the viewfinder. That was the last time, if even the first time during this video, that you're gonna be having a good time, because we're gonna be talking about Alec Baldwin. Now, Alec Baldwin, I basically forgot about his existence since the event with the quote-unquote prop gun on set and everything that transpired after that. Being 100% honest, I've always got very weird vibes from Alec Baldwin. I'm gonna use my white friend card to say, out of the many times that I watched Friends, he has a minor character in Friends that shows up only one episode, and I only know this because I've been watching Friends since I was way too young to be watching that show. Anyway, his character in Friends was one of those really annoying positive people who tries to find the positives out of everything to the point where it's like, can you just say something sucks? And I really got a weird vibe off of him, not because the character is who he really is, but you know when you just see an actor and you're like, you don't know what the deal is, but something's up. The prop gun incident happened, and I didn't really think anything was going to transpire any further with him in the news. However, yesterday I was checking the New York Post, and some news about him came out that is not at all surprising, but at the same time, I do think it speaks about, I don't know, celebrity culture, whatever we want to call it, and I'll explain more of what I mean. But it did bother me because it really is becoming evident how people want to use politics, as they always have, by the way, but especially now with social media. They just want actors and influencers to say shit whether they believe it or not. And I think we saw this weeks ago with Hassan too, that someone was basically telling him, oh, just say this even if you don't believe it. And it's like, is that where we're at? Are we at this level of artifice? The answer is yes, but really? Anyway, let's talk about the article at hand. I apologize if I sound overheated. I most certainly am. It is 1,000,000,000 degrees. Okay, so I realized that during this time, I have not been particularly political on this platform, mainly because I don't feel like I have much to add. Within my understanding, I don't feel like I have a very groundbreaking stance other than I will never justify hurting children, innocents, and whoever didn't sign up to be part of wars, and I don't think that's a groundbreaking thing to say. So do I feel the need to state that? No, I'm going to here anyway because people have asked me. But I really don't think I'm the person you should ever be looking to for political takes like that, because it's not my specialty. And as much as I might talk about political things with my friends, they know me, and my responsibility is not the same as it is here. You'll understand why I'm bringing this up. However, we are going to talk about ideological concepts. Alec Baldwin's scuffle with anti-Israel agitator crackhead Barney spilled onto sidewalk outside NYC coffee shop, photos show. So I am going to see if I can incorporate the video. Something within me just says I'm gonna get copyrighted. Regardless, I'll also link this article in case you want to see the video. Alec Baldwin scuffle with a loudmouth anti-Israel agitator at New York City coffee shop spilled out onto the sidewalk, new photos obtained by the Post show. An irate Baldwin, 66, was seen struggling with the woman out the front door and down the stoop of an upscale cafe on University Place in Greenwich Village after she had accosted him inside on Monday and demanded he declare Free Palestine as she filmed him. My ideology, beyond what I was talking about before, of the unjustifiability of hurting innocents and people who didn't want to be part of the war, blah, blah, blah. All of that aside, putting even aside the conflict right now, the specific conflict between Israel and Palestine, do you want to be feeding lines to actors, celebrities, whatever? And this isn't a justification for Alec Baldwin, but more of a general concept. If I randomly wanted to get PewDiePie to denounce person X, if I'm feeding him the line and he doesn't believe it, who cares what he's denouncing? At that point, it just shows that you easily bend and go with whatever is a more quote-unquote comfortable alternative, especially since I'm pretty sure Alec Baldwin hasn't been liked in a very long time. So if he really wanted to pander to the crowds, I'm pretty sure he'd know what to say right now. Asking him to make a statement he doesn't want to make, I already think is a losing game, because no matter what they say, maybe not to you, but to me, I'm always gonna doubt that, because I'm gonna say, did they say that because they wanted to? Did they say that because they felt they needed to? Either way, it's probably not gonna mean much to me, because the point of a statement is that, aside from like legal shit where you deny things and that's very much a lawyer wanting you to make that statement, for a lot of things, if a statement isn't made because you wanna make it, it doesn't matter anymore, because I don't believe you no matter what. It's not even about me liking or disliking your opinion, it's I don't believe you. And so this person kind of following Alec Baldwin around to make him say something like, hey, can you say free Palestine? It's like, okay, but even if he does say it, you're not gonna know if he said it to appease you and make you go away, or if he actually believes that. And so we're still at point zero. We have not learned anything new. And granted, people can lie at any given time. He could say free Palestine out of his own volition and still be lying, but there is a difference. I do think that people with power have a certain responsibility, but I also feel like we need to be very careful with what type of responsibility we give them, in the sense of, for me, I would never look to a YouTuber to tell me how to feel politically, religiously, anything super important from someone that I don't know personally. I'm not gonna say not gonna care, but it's probably not going to mean as much to me, because I don't know what your real moral compass is. I know what you look like online. I know what you act like online. Are you like that behind closed doors? Let me tell you, out of the YouTubers I've met, no. Footage of the encounter, first posted online by the woman herself, cut off after Baldwin took a swipe at her phone, and new photos appear to show him snatching the phone from her hand and using it to drive her out of the coffee shop. The scene from outside of the cafe appeared to show the Emmy winner holding the woman's phone out of her reach as she scrabbled up his arms after. They struggled down the stairs before the woman eventually got her hands on the device. So this is the other thing, and this is not about the war specifically, because again, I don't think this really is even about the war, conspiracy theory, but I personally think that a lot of celebrities in Hollywood don't give a fuck about the war, which is not groundbreaking, right? But I feel like they're also probably not as informed as they should be. So I feel like all of these questions aren't because he's mad about Palestine, because he's mad about Israel, because he's mad about Hamas, because he's mad. It's none of that. In my opinion, it was completely separate from politics, and it was more like, you're in my space, you're making requests with a phone in my face, asking me to say shit about a very important historical event that's happening. I don't like that, get away from me. The way that the media is positing it, though, from my reading of it, they're positing it as him not wanting to say free Palestine, and therefore what does he think about Palestine and Israel, and therefore where does he stand politically? Whereas I think, and I don't know, I could be wrong, Alec Baldwin is responding on a very basic instinct level. Like if someone came up to me right now and asks me, say that the red Skittles are the best, if they come into my face, if they come like this and tell me, hey, can you say, hey, hi, hello, can you say that red Skittles are the best? Hey, can you say that? I do not give a fuck what you're saying to me. I will swipe the phone out of your hand. I'll make you go away, whatever I need to do to get away from you. And again, that's not really a defense of Alec Baldwin as much as it's like, that's normal. Like, I don't know anyone who sees a stranger coming up to them being kind of confrontational and is like, ah, yes, this is someone I definitely want to engage in a heated debate with. Like, no. So I think for him, it probably wasn't that deep. I don't even think he probably had time to think about what he would even say about the conflict, let alone, again, I don't really think anyone should be looking at celebrities of all people, potentially the most detached people from reality, to talk about these subjects. Now, there are exceptions, but for the most part, you in your Laurel Canyon or wherever the fuck mansion in California, like, do I think you have some kind of mystical knowledge? Like, there are probably scholars and other people that all of us trust more, right? Like, I'm not going to Alec Baldwin to ask for moral advice. We're all on the same page with that one, right? An infuriated Baldwin then stormed off down the sidewalk, coffee and car keys in hand. The agitator is identified only as crackhead Barney. I can't say that name with a straight face. A far-left activist who is known for ambush-style interviews and outrageous public performances. In her original video, crackhead Barney approached Baldwin and asked him to say Free Palestine as he talked on the phone and waited for his order. Alec, can you please say Free Palestine one time? She asked him several times before promising to leave him alone if he'll just say it once. As he headed for the door, shaking his head, she added, "Fuck Israel, fuck Zionism." "Why did you kill that lady? You killed that lady and got no jail time," she said at one point, referring to the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins, who was killed on the set of Baldwin's movie Rust when a prop gun he was shooting wound up loaded with a live bullet. One thing I will say about this style of interview is that it almost never works out because, first of all, you're gonna have people saying that you're just trying to get outrage clicks, which to a degree you are. Second of all, people will say that you are minimizing a very serious situation, which is true in two different ways. First of all, you're minimizing a discussion about the war, which would be a serious conversation to have, where you don't just ambush someone trying to get their fucking coffee and be like, "Hey, can you just say this? Can you just say this? Can you just say this?" Like, there's probably a lot more to be said and that someone would want to say if they were so inclined. And aside from that, it's also minimizing what happened to the cinematographer, Hutchins. It's like, oh, didn't you like kill that lady? Like, you're asking someone to be humanitarian on command about the war, but then you just say he killed some lady? You see why it doesn't work out? Because even if people agree with you initially about confronting Alec Baldwin because for some reason people decided his opinion was important to have, which in and of itself is a mystery to me, now it also looks extra ridiculous because you're talking about a very scandalous tragedy that included someone else's death that you know is going to piss him off, but you still expect him to answer to you while you're shoving your phone in his face while he's just trying to get a coffee. And it's also like you're making people side with Baldwin. Like, you're making people side with a person I can only assume you didn't really want people to side with. Because for me, no matter who you are, if someone comes up into your personal space and starts not attacking you, but harassing you, I don't find any excuses for that. Whether it's the person I hate the most in the world or not, coming up in your face like that immediately loses points for me because now everything will be boiled down to, you attacked them, you assaulted them, you harassed them. And as you can see, are any of us really talking about Israel and Palestine anymore? No. It's all very defeatist. It's like screaming the loudest so you can say you screamed the loudest, but were any points really made? Unfortunately, no. But then again, you can't just confront someone getting coffee and assume they want to have some type of debate with you or discuss politics with you when they don't even know you. And they don't even know like who you are as a person. Like, I would be alarmed by a person doing that to me. Like, you don't know if someone has weapons. You don't know who the fuck you're dealing with. After Baldwin got crackhead Barney out of the restaurant, he deadbolted the door to keep her out. Footage she posted showed. She then stalked outside, talking to herself about how Baldwin had assaulted me, I should press charges, while calling random passerbys racist and Zionist bitches. See, this is exactly what I'm saying. We're not even talking about the actual issues anymore. This is ridiculousness for the sake of ridiculousness. And nobody who does this can call themselves a humanitarian, because as much as celebrities, I think, if they are informed, very important, should speak up, doing shit like this is equally as bad, because are we giving attention to the thing? No. My performance art in confrontational media is a statement about the double standards of society in the US, crackhead Barney said in a statement after the incident. As the US supports Israel in the genocide of Palestinians, here at home, powerful people maintain a facade of politeness and dignity while we export death and terror around the world, she continued. Amidst mass protest and public calls for an end to US support of Israel, the entertainment industry has been largely silent and even worse, supportive of Israel's genocide. This cannot stand, and people deserve to be confronted with the horrors of our nation funds and supports. Crackhead Barney commands an audience of nearly 100,000 followers on Instagram. But hear me out, and maybe it's because I never understood this comedy style of just like running up to someone and screaming in their face. Never found that funny. never found it informative. I never really could pay attention beyond all the theatrics. Perhaps this is the schooly, nerdy part of me, but to me, it's genuinely like, had you asked a few questions calmly, if your goal was to make Alec Baldwin, Hollywood, and all of them seem complicit and uninterested, which a lot of them, to be fair, are, if that was your goal, asking a few good questions calmly and seeing their response would have done so much more. Silences are deafening, and we know that because it lets people sit with shit as opposed to being bombarded with 700 different questions where people are like, I don't even know where any of this started anymore. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's unfortunate that it's gotten to this point where everything has to be turned into like absurdity and sensationalism. Then again, I'm also a problem because I'm talking about it, right? Which ideally people are like, ignore it, but it's also like, okay, but if you're ignoring it, where do we draw the line? You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.